The Souls-like genre is one of the more recent ones that we've seen gaining traction in the last few years. There have been a ton of great games that take the basic framework established by FromSoftware's premier Souls series and put their own spin on this formula to sometimes great effect. Here are such games that you probably never heard of. LILIES' QUIETUS of the Nights. AdGlobe's LILIES' QUIETUS of the Nights is an incredibly chill game that uses its Souls-like mechanics to great effect. The game's narrative also has a fair bit of charm to it as you uncover the myriad of mysteries of a once glorious kingdom. The game has some great boss design and is one game worth experiencing for fans of the genre. Tales of Iron.
Their leader, Lancelot, had never been bested in battle. He had a lance as lethal as it was legend.
Tales of Iron combines the unforgiving mechanics of the Souls-like games with its brightly toned and rather charming visuals and environments in a great way. Tales of Iron sees players controlling Reggie as he overcomes the trials and tribulations to eventually become the rightful heir to the throne. The combat is fast-paced and, of course, brutal. You can even recruit companions for your journey, build your character in a specific way, and do a bunch of other good stuff that makes Souls-like games a challenge worth taking. Remnant from the Ashes. A Souls-like game with guns is the elevator pitch for Remnant from the Ashes, and perhaps there's no better way to describe the game. You take on hordes of increasingly difficult enemies as you try to survive an invasion from another dimension. There's plenty of loot to collect, bosses to fight, areas to explore, and you can just feel an overarching appreciation for the games that inspired it, from the art direction to the enemy designs. Listen to the Wind. Most Souls-like games feature methodical combat that results in a slower pace of combat proceedings, although Listen to the Wind shatters those expectations by making its hack-and-slash combat a fast-paced experience, but also manages to retain the level of strategy found in its contemporaries. It's all rendered in a beautiful art style, complete with great art direction. It might not appeal to everyone, but it's worth checking it either way. Blade of Darkness. Blade of Darkness originally came out way back in 2001, and as such, preceded the first Souls game, Demon's Souls on the PS3 to be precise, by a total of 8 years. This fact is reflected in its rudimentary-looking environments, limited character choices, and now janky-looking animations. That said, it's rather interesting to see many of the genre's traits in its earliest forms, and the best part is that those wanting to try it can check out the recently released remaster. Dead Cells. Motion Twin's take on the Souls formula combines the ruthless and unforgiving combat of the genre with a permadeath mechanic. Dead Cells sees players exploring a procedurally generated world, collecting useful items and upgrades to get powerful, and then either emerging victorious by defeating the final boss, or starting all over again if things go south. It's a mishmash of several genres, but at its core, it's an enjoyable experience with great fast-paced combat that gives just enough leeway to balance its difficulty with permadeath mechanics. USURPER Soulbound. USURPER Soulbound is a top-down Souls-like with an interesting spin to the traditional formula. Upon death, players can essentially use their powers to take control of an enemy's body and keep the action going. Its retro aesthetic looks rather interesting, and the game carries its Lovecraftian inspirations on its sleeve. The game uses a mixture of procedural generation algorithms to great effect, and as such, should not be missed out on fans of the genre. Soulsland. Soulsland follows the Dark Souls formula very closely. It's set in a medieval fantasy setting, it sees players single-handedly battling the forces of evil, and features a combat system that heavily relies on managing stamina bars and precisely timed blocks. That said, its low budget is reflected in its visuals, animations, and even UI for that matter. It's no Souls killer by any means, but it's definitely a game worth checking for those looking for games that follow the FromSoftware formula as strictly as possible. Outward. Prime Matter's Outward puts the Souls formula into an open world setting, and while it might not be the most polished experience out there, it's certainly an interesting premise. There's a greater focus on survival as you try to gather as many resources as possible to endure the ruthless wilderness. Furthermore, you also have to keep tabs on food, water, and even make sure not to catch any diseases for complete effectiveness in combat. The world of RI is a colorful one, but houses some great dangers that'll test your might at every corner. Titan Souls. Titan Souls is a top-down Souls-like that is rendered in a beautiful 16-bit art style. Players embark on a quest to assemble the shards of the Titan Souls. The combat is slick and fast, reminiscent of games like Hyper Light Drifter and Katana Zero. It's a mostly simple game, although it's a game that should be experienced by fans of the genre nevertheless. METAMORPHOS. Spicy Dice Studios' METAMORPHOS is a pretty simple take on the Souls formula. It features strikingly similar combat, enemies, settings, and the like. However, given the fact that METAMORPHOS is a student project that is available for free to download through Steam, the similarities and unoriginality can be forgiven in favor of the positives. Blades and Bones. Blades and Bones is a Souls-like game that features a simplistic and one-tone art style and remains all the better for it. There's a heavy focus on exploration and combat with challenging foes, posing an immediate threat to your existence at every corner. It has a few rough edges, sure, as evident from its reviews on Steam, but is a fine enough game that a few hardcore fans of the genre might enjoy. The Wind Road. Phoenix Games' action RPG takes equal inspiration from both Dark Souls and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, and crafts a mostly great experience. The Wind Road has some great visual direction, although it is somewhat marred down by some inconsistencies with animations and other production-related shortcomings. That said, it can be enjoyable at times, and those with a hankering for more Sekiro should definitely check it out. And with that, we've reached the end of this video. Have anything to say? Let us know in the comments below. Also, we upload new videos every day on Gaming Bolt, so please consider subscribing as it really helps us out. Thanks for watching.